Hi everyone, it's Laura here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to create a card with a clean look using stamps by Gerda Steiner Designs. The stamp set I am using today is the Foxes stamp set. This was released recently and it comes with a lot of fun and cute images. We have some foxes, a cute owl, some additional images like these two mushrooms and the star, a fun wreath, and then a number of really cute sentiments. As I said, the stamp set is by Gerda Steiner Designs and is available with coordinating dies too. For my card today, I will be using the image of this cute fox. I colored it during an Instagram live, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, you will find the link in the description box down below. And I have the footage for that live saved on my computer, and I'm planning to upload it on my Instagram profile. So if you want to see how I colored that, and in general, for even more inspiration than the one that I share here on YouTube, you can follow me on Instagram. For today's video, I will share the coloring of this owl, and I will be using my Spectrum Noir markers to color today. Because I will use this image in combination with the fox image, I pretty much have my light source determined. I had shaded the fox as if the light was coming from the top left of the screen, and so I am shading the owl that way too. So you can see that I placed my shadows on the bottom right part of the owl's body and also under his arms and a little bit around his eyes so that it will look like the eyes are bulging out. I started with my darker marker, which was the MB4 Spectrum Noir marker, and I added it in the darkest areas. I then came in with the MB2 and blended that out, leaving a little bit of space for the MB1, which is my highlight color. And then because I didn't have enough contrast, I came back in with the MB3, trying to darken up the shadows and even adding another coat of MB4. And as I do that, I am also adjusting a little bit the placement and the extent of the shadows. So you can see I added even more shadows under the eyes of the owl and under its beak. And again, I'm blending everything with the MB3 marker. And with Spectrum Noirs, you can color like I'm doing, so you can work in layers to build up your color depth and your contrast. And this is exactly what I'm doing here. I am coming in with a third layer of color until I get the depth and the darkness that I want for my shadow areas and a nice contrast with the highlight areas. Once I was satisfied with the coloring of the body, I went ahead and added some shading to the beak and the legs of the owl. I started with BO3 and then I blended that out with BO2 and BO1. Although for such a small area you really just need a couple of colors maximum. I then started coloring the leaves and I am using the DG markers. So I am adding the darker colors where the leaves meet the tree branch, and then I am blending the color out towards the highlights. So for that I used DG1, DG2 and DG3, and these greens are among the more desaturated ones in the Spectrum Noir color range, and I picked those because I wanted a fall kind of feel for my card. Finally, I am coloring in the branch. I am first coming in with EB1 to sort of saturate the paper a little bit, and then I will be adding more color with EB2 and EB3. And because these two colors are quite far apart from each other, I started by using the tip-to-tip technique. And then I just came in with the EB3 directly on the paper. And finally, again using the tip-to-tip technique, I am blending out that EB3 with the EB2 towards the highlight areas. In order to get a nice blend, I came in with a second layer of color. And then I added some shading to the eyes of the owl, and for that I am using IG2 and IG1, so this would be cool gray markers, and this way the eyes still look white, but they have a rounded appearance. I also blended the color out with my colorless blender, and then I could go ahead and start cutting down my images. As I said, this stamp set comes with coordinating dies, but because I don't have them in my stash, I used my EK Success Cutter B scissors and very slowly trimmed around the images. When you use your scissors to cut, a trick that helps you get a more precise result is to keep your scissors straight and to move the paper. So I am right-handed, which means I am holding my scissors with my right hand, and with the left hand I am moving the paper so that I can cut around the stamped lines. I am also taking my time and I am cutting the images quite slowly, and the scissors that I'm using were kind of a game changer for me because they are really sharp and also they have a very fine point that helps you get into all the nooks and crannies of your images, no matter how detailed they are. Having said that, I do like the convenience of coordinating dies to stamp sets, and again, if you would like to get those, you can do that on the Gerda Steiner design store. I fussy cut the fox too, and then I moved on to my background. For that, I have a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock by Strathmore, and I will be doing some ink blending with distress oxides. I wanted to get a nice and dark sky, so I am using Seedless Preserves, chipped sapphire, and then I will come in with black soot. And with Bristol Smooth cardstock, it is really easy to get a smooth transition with your distress inks because this paper has some sort of coating, so your inks will not absorb immediately into the paper, but will sit on top for a little bit. And this will give you the opportunity to work your inks into each other and get a smooth blend. I added my coat of black soot, and I also sort of went on top of the chipped sapphire and the Seedless Preserves with it to darken up my sky. But then I had the feeling that the sky was a little bit too dull, so I came in with my distress ink in Salty Ocean, and I added that where my chipped sapphire was originally. I blended the chipped sapphire on top of the black soot on the top area of my cardstock panel, and then finally I brightened up the Seedless Preserves by adding a layer of wilted violet on top. I then took my bronze and gold watercolor pans from the Ganzai 36 watercolor set. I activated them with water, and then with a paintbrush I created my sky. I picked up the pigment and then I tapped on top of the paintbrush, moving it around over my background, and this created some small droplets that have the appearance of stars. If you want, you could use white acrylic paint instead, but I decided to use these watercolors because they have a metallic finish, which is absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, I also decided to add a few silver stars, again using another of the pans in the Ganzai 36 watercolor palette. I set my background aside to dry, and in the meantime I prepared my front panel. I die cut some white cardstock using 2 dies by Studio Katia. The rectangle die is from the Darling Ribbon and Frames Creative Dies, and this circle shape is from the Dotted Balloons dies. At this point it was time to think about the sentiment, and I decided to use the one that reads "Hey friend." This is also part of the Foxes stamp set by Gerda Steiner Designs. As you can see, I composed my scene without gluing anything down yet, just so that I could see exactly where I wanted my sentiment to be. And then I took my favorite things black licorice hybrid ink. This is the same ink that I had used on my stamped images, and I stamped my sentiment on the bottom left corner of my card front. Before adhering everything together, I decided that I wanted some grass for my fox to stand on. So I took again the same DG1, DG2 and DG3 markers that I had used to color the leaves on the tree branch where the owl is standing. You can see him on the top of the screen right here. And tried to create some grass by using some flicking motions. I am building up the grass very slowly, starting from my lightest marker, and I am constantly checking the position of the fox to see how much I want to fill the area and also how far I want to extend it. And then I came in with the darker marker and I am repeating basically the same steps. And this way I create some shading and some color variation in my grass. I kept filling the area and then at the end I came in with sort of a flat wash of my DG1 marker, and that allowed me to get a little bit of a smoother blend and also to create a bit of a drop shadow where the fox is standing. At this point everything is ready and I can start assembling my card front. I am coating the back of my window panel using some double-sided adhesive. And then I can bring it to my sky background and adhere it, centering it where the sky looks best. I will cover the back of that sky panel with some double-sided adhesive again. And then I will mount this on a top folding A2 card base. And I'm using a trick that I learned from Katiziewski's videos, which consists in using the corners of your Misty to align perfectly your card base and your card front. I used my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive by Tonic Studios to glue down the owl to the front of my card. So I want him to look as if the branch is sort of peeking out of that window that I created. And then I will adhere the fox on top of the grass. And because the fox is looking up, this will create sort of a visual line that will link the fox to the owl. To finish off this card, I am using some gold foil confetti by Studio Katia, and I am gluing them to the bottom left and the top right of my card using Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and my quick stick tool. And this is a very useful tool to put down embellishments on your card fronts. And before I go, I wanted to show you the card and how it looks once it catches the light. You can see how much shine there is because of the confetti and also because of these metallic watercolors that we use to create our stars. And that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments below, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. You can visit my blog for the full list of supplies and I'll catch you guys soon with the next one. Ciao!